Well, hello there. I'm Drew Badger, and today we're going to cover 5 interesting grammar errors that will actually make you sound more native. Well, this should be an interesting lesson. This is kind of a dangerous lesson. I feel bad as an English educator telling you that, hey, you should try using these grammar errors in order to maybe sound more native, but it's important that you understand them because you will hear native speakers using these and then think, well, like, why are they saying that? Isn't that incorrect? So oftentimes people are using grammar incorrectly because, number one, it's easier to say something, it's faster to say it, or number two, because so many people confuse something that it just becomes a part of common use. And maybe over time, the definition of a word can actually change if people maybe start using it too much. Now, people that are grammarians, people that are serious about preserving and protecting proper grammar, they will fight against this, but often, if people are just using the wrong thing too often, then maybe there's really nothing you can do about it. But let's cover 5 of these things that you can certainly use in your everyday conversations, especially in a conversational way, but that you would probably not want to use. Actually, I do not recommend you use these in your writing and more professional and academic situations. The first, and this is really one of the most common, and this is theirs when you're talking about more than one thing. If we're talking about maybe there's a dog over there, this is a correct English sentence, but people will often say something like, oh, there's 2 dogs over there. There's 2 dogs over there. And the reason they're saying there's 2 dogs over there is because it's easier to say. There are 2 dogs over there. There really isn't a contraction you can use like there are 2 dogs over there. It's harder to say, so people just say, oh, look, there's 2 dogs over there. Oh, there's some parking spaces over there. So native speakers, if you listen carefully, they will say there's instead of there are, or there, which you can't really say very well. But this is why they say it. It's just easier to say it that way. And if you try using it in your conversations as well, you will find it's much easier to say. So I use theirs a lot, and I know many other native speakers that use it as well. Again, it is incorrect grammar, but it's much easier to say. Theirs. Next, a near miss when people should be actually saying near hit. It doesn't really make sense if you think about maybe I'm playing baseball and I'm swinging a bat, so the ball is coming and I miss the ball. You wouldn't say a near miss. That doesn't make any sense. Like a near miss means you almost miss something, which means you hit the ball basically. So either you hit the ball or you miss the ball, but you can like hit the ball or miss by different degrees. So instead of saying a near miss, you would say a near hit. So the ball came here and I swung my bat right here. I was really close. Oh, it was a near hit. We wouldn't say it was a near miss. But again, this is one of those things that, again, it's kind of easier to say a near miss, as opposed to a near hit, which takes a little bit more time to say. And this is really one of those reasons why the grammar evolves, or people will often use things in ways that they shouldn't be using them, really just because it's easier to say. A near hit. I was nearly hit by a car driving on the sidewalk today. A near hit. This next one is a really often misused grammar error, and this is to do well versus doing good. Now, doing good, if you maybe just walk up to someone and say, how are you? How are you doing? People will say, oh, I'm doing good. Now, people will use this in a conversational way, even though it's correct, and they should be saying, I'm doing well. Typically, people are using this because, I guess logically, it doesn't seem like it makes much of a difference. Both of these are positive things, doing good or doing well, but grammatically, doing well is what you should be saying. So I'm doing well at school, not like I'm doing good at school, doing good. So speak something well, like I speak English well, instead of I speak English good, speak English well. Next, another common one, on accident versus by accident. So if you do something on accident, often native speakers will say this, and in a conversation, nobody will correct your grammar really, unless they're just like a mean person and say, hey, you should use this preposition and not that preposition. So typically people won't do that, but it is a thing that you should be using correctly when you're writing. So when you're doing something on accident, what you really mean is by accident. You did something by accident. And logically, it probably doesn't make much sense if you're just trying to understand what the rule is. But the opposite of something is to do something on purpose. Now, if you do something on purpose means you are actually trying to do something like I stole that like bread or whatever from the store by accident. So I didn't mean to take it, but it fell in my basket and I carried it out. So I did something by accident. But if I stole the bread on purpose, it actually means I was trying to take that thing. So on accident is something that you would not say. You want to talk about by accident and on purpose. By accident and on purpose. So if you want to remember which is which, just think about on purpose, then on is used for purpose and by is used for accident. On purpose, by accident. And finally, this is one that's a bit more of an advanced term, but people will still use it a lot in conversations. And this is an old adage, an old adage. Now, an adage is just like some maybe little expression or something where you're talking about like an old adage, like you don't want to wake up a sleeping baby or something. So it's just like you're talking about like maybe some advice, or it's like a phrase or expression that's used by people typically to give some kind of advice or moral or something like that. But an old adage, you don't have the word old, like you shouldn't use the word old before adage, because an adage implies that old is what you're talking about. There typically aren't like, I mean, maybe you can create a new adage, I suppose, but when you're talking in a conversation, it's kind of a thing people have developed to say an old adage is something, but you really don't need to use the word old there. So especially in your writing, you would just say an adage is something. An adage is like, you have to, do something special when you hit your head in order to save yourself or whatever. So this is one of those examples like the Sahara Desert. So the word Sahara means desert, but people will often say like desert. I mean, that's basically what you're saying. So think about things like this. And when you learn it, okay, I'm like learning something new. I should just say an adage. Again, all of these things are things that you can use in conversations, but I don't recommend you use them in your writing. If you have enjoyed this video, do click that like button. And speaking of writing, get down in the comments below and actually try using them correctly. So what do you do well and what do you not do good? You don't want to talk about doing that. So tell me about something you do well, like you play a sport well or do something else. But again, you're talking about describing that as opposed to doing good, which doesn't make any sense. But again, it sounds logical. Anyway, if you have liked the video, do click that like button, become a subscriber to the YouTube channel, and again, get in the comments below and let me know what you think. Also, if you'd like to improve your conversational English and become a much more fluent speaker, click on the link in this video to take our free English fluency quiz. It will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to become a fluent speaker much faster, and it will help you for your particular situation, whether you have maybe trouble with grammar or pronunciation or vocabulary. We can help you with all of those things absolutely free at EnglishAnyone.com, and I look forward to seeing you there. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.